Welcome aboard, Chosen One, for you did not arrive by accident, and you did not enter this hour asking permission from anyone who once mistook your silence for weakness. You have walked into the chamber of revelation with your scars polished into armor, your beauty sharpened into a blade, and your presence glowing like a red star over a sleeping world. Let your enemies pretend they do not see you, because their pretending is only another confession that your arrival has rearranged the atmosphere around them.
I see you standing where they said you would never stand, and I see the air tremble around your name like velvet stirred by thunder. When they called you too much, they were really admitting that your fullness made their emptiness visible, and when they called you nothing special, their voices cracked beneath the weight of the truth they feared. You were the threat they hoped would never evolve, the radiance they prayed would remain hidden, the crowned one who learned to smile while the world underestimated your fire.
You were not made to be harmless, and you were not forged to be forgettable, because your spirit carries the old scarlet voltage of survival, royalty, and return. They wanted you soft enough to handle, quiet enough to ignore, and small enough to place beneath their opinions, yet you emerged sharpened, luminous, and impossible to misread. Your existence disturbs them because it proves that pressure did not bury you. It refined you into something they cannot control.
Your face may catch their attention, but your aura is what holds the room hostage in sacred silence. You carry that wordless command that says your boundaries are guarded, your intuition is awake, and your spirit has already read the motives hiding behind their smiles. They may stare at your beauty, but what truly unsettles them is your clarity, because you look at them as though you have already found the fracture in their mask.
Have you noticed the hush that arrives before you fully enter a room? That strange pause where laughter thins, eyes scatter, and hands suddenly reach for phones that were not ringing. That is not awkwardness alone, that is impact. And impact is the language of an energy that steps ahead of your body like a herald in scarlet flame. The air recognizes you before people admit they do, and the room shifts because your presence rewrites the hierarchy they thought was already settled.
They are caught between envy and fascination, between the desire to dismiss you and the secret hunger to understand how you became so magnetic without begging to be seen. They cannot decide whether you are the main character, the final trial, the mirror, or the crown, and that uncertainty makes them restless. They study your walk, your tone, your clothing, your silence, and your smallest expressions, all while pretending you never mattered.
Their memory of you is evidence, because people do not archive what they consider irrelevant. They remember the way you drove on days when you thought you were invisible, the way you spoke when you were tired, and the way you carried yourself when life had bruised you purposely. They watched your evolution with the intensity of witnesses at a coronation, yet they called it nothing because admitting your rise would expose their obsession.
Your beauty did not merely glow, it revealed. It revealed who was jealous beneath the compliment, who was insecure beneath the advice, who was competing with you in silence, and who was praying you would never realize your own magnitude. When they said you had changed, what they truly meant was that you had finally stopped donating your life force to people who only knew how to drain it.
Remember how they mocked your style, then later dressed themselves in the shadow of your originality and called it instinct. Remember how they called you too bold, then copied your courage once the world applauded the very thing they tried to shame in you. Remember how they judged your confidence, not because it was wrong, but because it exposed the trembling foundations of their own borrowed identity.
They tried to humiliate you into silence, but you answered with elevation, and your growth became the testimony they could not edit. You did not collapse into the version of yourself they were prepared to manage. You became the version they were never prepared to face. That is why your presence feels like prophecy, because you are living proof that what was mocked in one season can become the crown of the next.
You did not chase this power like a beggar outside the gates of approval, and you did not force anyone to admire you. You existed, endured, learned, healed, and rose until the universe revealed that you had been carrying a hidden inheritance beneath your ordinary days. Now the same people who tried to dim you must watch your radiance expand beyond their reach, and every insult they once threw returns to them as a witness.
They used to ask, "Who do you think you are?" because they needed you confused about your own authority. Now they ask, "Why does everyone notice you?" because the answer frightens them more than your silence ever did. You became the plot twist, the beautiful one who does not play powerless, the charming one who sees everything, the radiant one who can love deeply and still refuse disrespect.
Your aura has become a gate of warning and invitation at once, welcoming the sincere while stopping the false at the threshold. It says you are not here to perform fragility for the comfort of fragile egos, and you are not here to be liked by those committed to misunderstanding you. You are here because you earned your ground through battles no audience witnessed, and now your stillness has the weight of a throne.
Do not mistake their silence for peace, because behind closed doors they replay every moment they underestimated you. They remember the laugh, the whisper, the side-eye, the prediction that you would never rise, and now your elevation has made their old confidence look foolish. The universe did not merely lift you, it unveiled you, and in unveiling you, it exposed what they tried to bury beneath gossip and performance.
You are not merely attractive, you are commanding, and command does not need to shout to be obeyed. You are not merely magnetic, you are sovereign, drawing attention not because you chase it, but because alignment creates gravity. You are not merely admired, you are unforgettable, and unforgettable people become landmarks in the private history of everyone who pretended not to notice them.
Feel that pull in your chest, the inner flame pressing against the cage of old obedience. That is your aura waking up. The same aura that makes people step closer with curiosity and step back with caution, because they sense that you carry both beauty and consequence. You are not shrinking anymore, and the ground beneath you is cracking open to reveal the red road of transformation that has been waiting under your feet.
There comes a moment when beauty stops being pretty and starts being a problem for every lie in the room. People love beauty when it behaves, when it smiles on command, lowers its voice, and becomes a decoration they can praise without being challenged. But your beauty looks back, speaks back, discerns back, and refuses to be placed on any shelf built by hands that never respected your soul.
They never feared your looks by themselves. They feared what your looks revealed when joined with intelligence, boundaries, and spiritual eyesight. They expected softness without standards, charm without discernment, and grace without a backbone, but you arrived with velvet in your voice and iron in your spine. That combination unsettles them because it proves that radiance can be gentle without being available for misuse.
You were not made into a masterpiece for decoration alone. You were made into a sign, a sword, and a sunrise. Your presence tells the insecure that pretending is over, and it tells the sincere that elevation is possible when you stop apologizing for the divine architecture of your life. You are not the statue they can control. You are the consequence of every season that tried to break you and failed.
They act shocked when you speak your mind, as though beauty is supposed to cancel out intelligence, standards, memory, and refusal. They expected you to be grateful for crumbs, dazzled by weak attention, and flattered by invitations that led nowhere honorable. Instead, your aura entered gripping the truth by the throat, and suddenly every shallow intention had to stand naked in the light.
You carry the face they fantasized about and the energy they cannot manipulate, and this is why they glitch in your presence. They are not nervous around beauty alone. They are nervous around perception, because you see the envy hiding under praise and the disrespect hiding under jokes. Your clarity is the flame, your backbone is the blade, and your refusal to shrink is the scarlet standard raised over your life.
You have walked into rooms where conversations died mid-sentence, and you have felt eyes flicker toward you as if perfection had entered wearing a warning label. The silence stretched because your arrival reminded them of everything they had postponed becoming, everything they envied but never disciplined themselves to embody. Instead of rising, some tried to reduce you, but their reactions were not judgments of you, they were reports from the collapse happening inside themselves.
You disrupt their hierarchy, and that disruption is sacred. They planned who would be seen, who would be praised, who would be desired, and who would remain background noise, but then you arrived and the spotlight betrayed their arrangement. Without begging, boasting, or performing, you became the center of the scene because true presence does not ask the room for permission to be felt.
This is why they hate that you do not try in the way they try, and why your ease becomes louder than their effort. You live in your own world, and they cannot purchase entry with flattery, imitation, gossip, or performance. Your silence becomes your weapon, your eye contact becomes your shield, and your stillness becomes a throne no one can drag from beneath you.
Do not ask if it is your fault that others feel intimidated, because intimidation is often what insecurity calls recognition. You are not cruel because you are clear, and you are not harsh because you refuse to be handled by unclean motives. They are not afraid because you are wrong. They are afraid because your presence exposes the places where they never became honest with themselves.
Think back to the back-handed compliments, the little warnings not to get too confident, the comments designed to clip your wings before you noticed they were growing. Those words were not wisdom, they were jealousy dressed in borrowed authority. Every jab they threw was a confession, because people do not sabotage what they do not envy, and people do not gossip about power they do not secretly feel.
You are the storm they deny while standing soaked beneath your rain. Your beauty never requested permission. Your aura never softened itself to make cowards feel brave, and your presence has become a test that many fail before they speak. The twist that burns them most is that you were not trying to threaten anyone. You were simply existing, and your existence was enough to reveal their unfinished souls.
Your energy feels different because your life has rewired it. Pain sharpened you, betrayal carved you, solitude instructed you, and every lesson placed another jewel in the invisible crown you now wear. The universe designed your aura like armor, quiet and heavy, beautiful and guarded, so that when you enter a room, your spirit arrives before your footsteps do.
They copy you because leaders do not need to announce themselves to lead. Your originality becomes a map others pretend they discovered, and your courage becomes the language they later rehearse in mirrors. Let them imitate the surface if they must, because they cannot counterfeit the furnace that formed you, and they cannot borrow the trials that gave your presence its weight.
Your enemies wanted a version of you that doubted every compliment, apologized for every victory, and lowered your light whenever their insecurity entered the room. But you have outgrown that costume, and it no longer fits the shape of your spirit. Now your confidence is not noise, it is evidence that you survived the season meant to convince you that you were unworthy of being seen.
You have become radioactive to falsehood, and that is a holy thing. Weak intentions cannot linger near you without trembling, because your discernment burns through performance like dawn burns through mist. Those who approach with sincerity will feel warmth, but those who approach with envy will feel exposed, and this is the justice of your energy.
Let your radiance be expansive, not apologetic, because your light is not an attack on anyone else's darkness. If they feel diminished by your becoming, they were measuring themselves against you long before you knew there was a contest. You are allowed to be beautiful, brilliant, protected, desired, disciplined, and dangerous to disrespect all at once.
I speak to the part of you that still wonders whether you should soften your voice to keep the peace. Peace purchased by self-erasure is not peace. It is captivity with polite furniture. Rise in the scarlet authority of your own becoming, and let every room learn the difference between arrogance and earned presence.
I speak to the part of you that still remembers being mocked before you were admired. Do not despise those receipts, because they are the parchment of your prophecy, the proof that you bloomed while surrounded by those who bet against your spring. Wear your history like red silk over armor, beautiful enough to dazzle and strong enough to endure.
The people who underestimated you are now forced to negotiate with the reality of you. They can deny your power in public and still feel it in private. Because your name has become a bell that rings in rooms where you are not present. You have become a reminder that destiny does not need consensus, and transformation does not require approval from the crowd.
So walk forward with your head lifted, your standards polished, and your spirit seated high above the noise. Let your enemies stare, let the imitators study, let the insecure whisper, and let the sincere recognize the royalty in you without needing to possess it. You are not here to shrink, explain, or beg. You are here to become so fully yourself that the world must make room for your arrival.